right. So I'm here with Shamier Little, who's coming off a legendary 2024 season, her first Olympic Games, coming off the Olympics where you were able to win a gold medal in the 4x4, a silver medal in the mixed relay, a world record in that mixed relay as well. This is already on top of two-time world championship medalists, three-time USA champion, all those accolades from before. But how you feeling, Shamier?
I'm feeling really good. I've been on the go, like just kind of soaking in the moment, allowing myself to like travel and be around my people. So I kind of see like reflections of how well I did in them. And I just kind of get excited for that. That's kind of always how I've been. But I just feel good. Like I really like even you sitting and like naming, I'm like, dang, like I really went and did that. And that's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's only even, of course, it's been a couple months since the Olympics, but your season literally just ended like barely a couple weeks ago. Like, have you had a chance to even reflect back on how the year has gone?
I take little moments here and there, but I have like, I'll just have this monologue playing in my head, like when I'm gonna make my Instagram post, like, just telling my story, speaking my testimony. I have little moments where I reflect, but I really did most of my reflection like after while I was in the Olympic Village. I kind of had that time to myself to like decompress while still being in the moment. And that was very important for me. I have my little moments touch and go, but I think that once my season starts and I'm like sit down with my coach and sit down with myself, I get to reflect so that I can then put that towards what my goals are for next year.
Nice. I love that. I love that. And I mean, in those little moments that you've been able to dip back into, the experience from the Olympics and the year, like, is there anything that stands out to you from that time that you had in Paris with all the accomplishments that you were able to kind of accumulate?
Uh It was a lot. I feel like I was just experiencing so many like emotions, but it was definitely like community. Like I'm so big on community. I went to A&M and M and people are like, well, how did you last A&M? I'm like, we were like family. Like your door unlocked, we walking in your house, we coming in, we taking a nap, we cooking, whatever. So it's kind of like I love those moments where I get to be around, the community, the USATF network, and just seeing myself age, seeing people who were my age when I made my first team, and then looking at myself like, oh, I'm a veteran. Like I'm one of the last people, like looking at Vernon, or when people we go to like looking at Vernon like, dang, we the last ones. Like we came in together, we the last soldiers, and just taking in that experience. What really actually stood out was the opening and closing ceremonies because my ankles have not yet recovered from all that walking. But it was such an experience, and I'm so glad I did it.
I've heard that the walk-ins during the ceremonies were crazy or
It was
crazy.
so crazy. It was. It. I can't even. I won't even say it was walking. It was more standing than anything. And I just like for like maybe I'm just now getting to the point where I can like stand for like an hour and be like, this is cool. But after that, I was just like, my ankles are not gonna make it, y'all. Like I need to sit down. I was in the closing ceremony, and it was like the staff or the security that was watching the stands, and they had chairs behind them. I went and sat under the like sat in the man chair. Like I'm like, and just took it in like, oh, this is amazing, but let me give my feet some rest.
I mean, and you still had a full set of meets after that. So it's amazing that you still put everything off that you did. So that is dope. That is dope. I mean, at the games, talking about like community and like all that, how did you navigate through the rounds? Because you ran more than some individual athletes did between every single round of the 4x4 and the mixed relay. Like you, Vernon, Bryce, how did y'all kind of navigate through the experience there?
Well, for me, it was really about taking it round by round. I feel
Mhm.
like I wasn't so much just thinking, well, I have to save energy, expending energy thinking about saving energy. It was just kind of like, you got this one race today, you gonna do this. So for me, it was just kind of, it was really just taking it day by day, not getting too ahead of myself, trusting in myself, definitely recovering. Like I was on top of my recovery. I was on top of, like my eating and my nutrition. I was making sure that I was getting out socializing. I was also making sure that I ended up speaking to one of the therapists that was there because I was just trying to max out on everything so that I would not get consumed by the moment. And I think really what really kind of prepared me was my training. Like I know that I train like no other in the program with the Johnson brothers. Like they gonna make sure we get around the track. They gonna make sure we work. And after doing the 3 rounds at trials and walking away unscathed physically but hurt mentally, I was like, okay, well I can definitely do this. I get 3 days in between, or like it's nothing to me. So I kind of carried that confidence with me and just was like, girl, just do it round by round. You don't have any time to think about what's hurting, if you being tired or any of that outside chatter.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, you had a packed schedule at the Olympic trials. So to come out and then even go further at the Olympic Games, like, yeah, you should be more than proud of what you were able to do. Very, very proud.
Yes.
Nice. And like you were saying, you and Vernon, in a sense, y'all have been like the OGs coming out, what, like 2015? Like that's when you got like your first medal at the World Champs. But now, I mean, I feel like you've reinvented yourself every moment throughout your career. And now going into 2025, signing on to Grand Slam track, this is almost like a new opportunity, almost like a new kind of reinvigoration. Like, what is it that intrigued you about Grand Slam track that, caused you to jump in?
That it the money, shoot, the money, but also that it kind of played into my strengths which is that I am a 2 event athlete, and I really like respect and am inspired by 2 event athletes, especially Gail Devers. That was like one of I think my first ever professional encounters when she came to Chicago and had a clinic, and that kind of hearing about Grand Slam, I was like, oh, that's perfect for me. Like I could do the 400 one day, the 400 hurdles the next day, like, and then just the setup of it was, 4 meets, and I'm used to that. Where with the training, like it's very high volume, and I'm kind of used to situations where I'm even in competition, I'm running rounds. Um, so it was just like I was, and it's something new. Like, why wouldn't you try something new that's innovative for the sport? And I was like, okay, like I'm gonna go for it. Like I asked my agent, I was like, you think I'll get in a Grand Slam? And we talking about it. And then when he told me like, oh, they want to sign you, I'm like, okay, like let me read over the paperwork. I know I want to sign, but let me read over it.
Nice, nice. I mean, of course, the money is very, very intriguing, which is huge. But like you said, I feel like you're the definition of a double threat. So many hurdlers now, of course, are like dipping into the 400 hurdles and the 400, but like you've been consistently doing it throughout your career and like with a lot of success. Is it just like the training? Is it the mindset? Like what makes you special at both of these events?
I really couldn't tell you. I was a 400 runner, and then I became a 100 hurdler, and then I became a 400 hurdler. So I've
Mhm.
always 400. The 400 has always been the foundation, and then you tie in, my other skill set, which is hurdling, and that's how that kind of came into the picture. Um, I don't know. I think it was kind of my freshman year of college because I think my senior year of high school, I was strictly 400 hurdles. And then freshman year of college, I was SEC champ in the
Mhm.
400, SEC runner up in the 400 hurdles. So I've always had that depth, and I've always been placed on a relay. So I never really saw it as much of a switch up. It's just one and the same to me. I think even sometimes in training sessions, when I'm running flat, I kind of put myself in the mindset of 400 hurdles so that I can prepare to make the transition. So it's always on my mind.
Nice, nice. And now that you have the chance to do it like literally on a weekend, 400 hurdles, 400 kind of back to back, and knowing you'll have like tons of high quality competition, like is just that kind of exciting as well, knowing you're going to be competing against some of the other best women in the world in both of the events.
Oh yeah, that's definitely fun. You have Sydney on. I don't know if they haven't announced all the other athletes, but of course she's always great competition. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to like the venues that they're going to be at. I know it's like, so it's really just all around. It's going to be something really fun, and I'm excited to take part.
Yeah, yeah. Is it your personal best is 49.68, I think, from last year in the
Yes,
400, right?
Monaco.
In Monaco last year, right? So, and then combined with, 52.3, like again, double threat. Do you get excited about the times, like running these fast times, or is it the competition, just those head to heads, knowing you're going out there with the best ladies?
I get excited about the head to heads because I know that it's always going to bring the best out of us. I love competing. Like, I really do love competing. I love going against the best. I love training against the best. I'm going to get my head whooped a little bit. I'm going to whoop up on some heads too. So it's kind of like I'm always getting my fair share, and it's fun and it teaches me a lot of lessons about myself.
Yeah. And like you were saying, where it seems like you were like, yo, I want to get on Grand Slam track before even, they signed you, you were like really on it. And now that you're, gonna get to be a part of it, does that kind of give you a boost in your career? Like I was saying before, like you're reinventing yourself year after year, it seems like to me. Do you feel like this is a new kind of, boost in your career, a new generation in a sense?
Yeah, it's like a little renaissance. I feel like just even myself, like I'm like you said, I'm literally always reinventing myself every year, physically, mentally, like in any capacity. I just have such a strong like growth mindset. And just kind of getting older that this opportunity presents itself and just like capitalizing on that.
Nice. And it's crazy, obviously getting older, yes, but it's still crazy that you still like running your best, some of your best times. You ran 49 seconds in every leg at the Olympics. You just ran
Mhm.
49 last year in the Open. So, and you're still in your 20s. So it's like you still have so
Yeah.
much more to go. You still got so much more to go.
One last
Um,
year.
um, and then just in the 400 hurdles, like we were saying, a lot of these women that you'll be going up against between Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, yourself, some other women as well. How is it that, or what makes the 400 hurdles special as an event where we've seen such, a resurgence, or we've seen so many eyes on the event, right? What's been kind of that, thing that's made the event so special right now?
I would just say the aura of the women competing really makes the event so special because it's like we're not like the super divas, but we're not like the super like laid back, chill. Like we're all so different. Our personalities are so different, and I see when we line up and how we translate that personality to our performances. I think that's really like what makes the sport or what makes the event kind of like be what it is. Like they say, we're marketing and we're entertaining, and we're not necessarily going out there with that intention, but it's just so that just the aura of the women from Dalila setting the tone. Like I got to be in the era with Dalila, or Dalila, just thinking about Dalila got to be in the era with Lashinda. So it's just really been cool. Like I love how Anna called out how, gave her props and gave the flowers to Dalila for really revolutionizing the event because she really changed the game and she set the tone and she set the standard, and everyone's kind of like shifted around that in their own way and had their own kind of contribution to the event.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that there is some sort of either mental switch or just like, okay, I have no choice but to run fast, right? Because it seems like once Dalila did start running extremely fast and Sydney and then you and Femke, like everyone just started going. Like, what was it about that?
It's just that we just pull each other. We pull
Mm,
the best out of each other, especially with the 400 hurdles being such a rhythm race and all of the top women kind of having established what their rhythm is. It's like when someone kind of sets the tempo and they set the tone, we all kind of go into that. I don't even know how to explain it, but you just know right from when the gun goes off, right from the first hurdle, like the tone is set, whether somebody's trying to keep up with somebody else or not, but we're all running our own race. But yeah, we're all kind of like feeding off of each other. And that's the thing about the 400. It's like really a mental race, and it's kind of really like the type of race where you just kind of like feed off of your competition.
no, that is
And
dope.
you know they're gonna come with some heat because you got somebody, Dalila's consistent on 52, she's gonna pop it out. She's, Olympic champion, world champion. And Sid, she gonna open up with something fast. And now we have now where the sport is being revolutionized, we're like people 14 stepping. So it's like it's always a new layer, a new discovery to the sport and a new way to push the boundaries of the event.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like to your point where everyone is pushing themselves, like figuring out these new layers of the event that back in 2015, when you were on the world stage, or even before, stuff like this was not happening and you couldn't even
No.
imagine, right? Like it's a huge step forward, which is really, really dope. Um, and going back to like your training and like the mindset of being able to like go out on the track all the time and put in that work. I feel like you're someone who has a lot of grit. Like there's some races I've seen from you where you are going out explosive from the blocks or you're finishing like a train in that second half. Like what is that something that you really say is kind of one of your qualities where you just have that grit, that grind to really, put it all out there on the track?
Yeah, that's definitely my mom always used to tell me like lay it all out on the track, and that's what I used to do. Like I just always know that, or I've always come to know that the race is kind of won off of the last hurdle. Like it's when the competition is so like we're like all neck and neck with each other, that the race is going to be won at a certain point. So it's in that point that's where my strength lies. Like I'm a finisher. I've always been a good finisher. So it's just playing into that, also trusting that and yeah, just knowing that like, okay, when we coming around to this seventh and this eighth hurdle, like it's time to drop the hammer. And that's kind of what I get into. And I have that mindset with me in training. And it just practice it carries over, of course, into competition.
There you go. There you go. Love it. So to kind of finish things off, again, 2025, dipping into Grand Slam track, you're going to have four, slams throughout the season. You're going to be a racer, the 400 hurdles, the 400. How do you look to kind of balance the season where you're going to have Grand Slam track, but you'll still have the opportunity to, of course, run at USA's, run at World Champs, like run at, all these other big opportunities. How are you kind of looking forward to balancing everything?
I don't know. I know that it will be balanced. I haven't quite sat down with my coach. He's very good at adaptability. I'm very good at adaptability. So us putting our heads together, like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because the season, I mean, I won't say it's longer, but the way that it's shifted is different. So it's just like also it's important because you have Grand Slam, but you also have the meets that really help your world ranking. So not only are I'm vying and competing for the money, I'm also competing for the ranking. So it's kind of a lot of layers to this season. And I'm really looking forward to like finally getting that time to sit down with my coach and mapping out how are we gonna do this so that we capitalize, we don't leave any money on the table, and we also don't sacrifice my ranking in the process because that's important, especially as an older athlete coming into like, my second or third contract.
There you go. That makes sense. That makes sense. And based on how you've been able to navigate, quote unquote, like a second half of your career, I feel like you're going to be more than prepared to
Oh
be out there in the
yes.
US.
Yes.
Yeah. So Shamier Little, really appreciate it. Again, I feel like you're about to kill it next year. Excited to see how 2025 goes. Excited to see you as a racer on Grand Slam track. Already killing it in the 400 and the 400 hurdles. So nothing's going to stop.
Yes.
Nothing's stopping.
At all. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I always love our conversations, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks.